I am William McBroom, Director of Conference Sales at the St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra, and the Beaches Visitors and Convention Bureau, and the Program Director for the Chamber's Tourism and Hospitality Council. I'm your host and moderator for this morning's panel discussion. Today's virtual discussion is hosted by the Tourism and Hospitality Council and the Historic St. Augustine Area Council. On behalf of these two councils, welcome. We're pleased to bring you this timely discussion on this year's Nights of Lights plans. We hope the information that's shared will be helpful as you make your plans to take care of additional visitors Nights of Lights will bring, and as you experience this wonderful time of year that I'm sure we're all looking forward to. This morning, it's my pleasure to introduce our panel of distinguished local officials who will share their plans and insights and answer your questions. We have with us Mr. John Reagan, the city manager for the city of St. Augustine. He is a University of Florida graduate in environmental engineering with a minor in environmental sciences. John has been with the city of St. Augustine since 1998, serving as the utilities director and chief operations officer until his promotion to city manager in 2010. Prior to the city of St. Augustine, John served in progressively responsible engineering roles at Gainesville Regional Utilities over a 10-year period. He's extensively published in technical engineering topics and is a frequent speaker in the fields of historic preservation and city management. He currently serves on the Board of Advocates for the University of Florida Historic Preservation Department and the Board of Directors for the United Way of St. Johns County, and is a member of Rotary International. In 2017, John was recognized by the University of Florida College of Design, Construction, and Planning for the Beinecke-Reeves Distinguished Achievement Award in Historic Preservation. In 2016, John had the Medal of Isabel la Católica bestowed on him by King Felipe of Spain in recognition of exceptional services to promote the cultural relationship between St. Augustine and Spain. I'm also pleased to introduce Melissa Wissel. Melissa currently serves the city of St. Augustine as manager of the communications department. Melissa has been the voice of the city since 2015 by managing social media, the weekly e-newsletter, News and Notes, was responsible for the upgrade and migration of 2 city websites, and moderates the weekly radio program, The Break Room, on Flagler College Radio. She is presently broadening the scope of the city's outreach to the community and is working closely with stakeholders to ensure open communications and understanding of how the city can best support its residents and business owners. Melissa holds FEMA certifications in emergency management and has extensive experience in the Emergency Operations Center. She maintained crisis communications for the city of St. Augustine during Hurricanes Matthew, Irma, and Dorian, as well as during COVID-19 by working closely with St. Johns County communications team to deliver timely information to all city and county residents. In addition to a bachelor's degree in communications from the University of Scranton, Melissa has earned a certificate in social media management from Georgetown University and is a member of the Leadership St. John's graduating class of 2018. Outside of work, Melissa enjoys sailing with her family and is a founding member of St. Augustine Sailing Sisters, a fundraising organization geared towards encouraging women to learn to sail and participate in the sailing community. We also have Melinda Conlon with us. She is the Communications and Events Coordinator for the City of St. Augustine Beach. In this role, Melinda is responsible for the communications with the public for the city, including running the city's website and social media accounts. In addition to daily informative posts, Melinda monitors potential dangers, including hazardous weather and, of course, the COVID-19 pandemic. Melinda is responsible for running all the city's special events, including the city's Arbor Day event, Veterans Day Remembrance, and Beach Blastoff. Some of her previous roles include Operations Director, Human Resources Director, as well as Communications Manager for a nonprofit organization in San Francisco. Melinda has served on the board for the St. Augustine Humane Society and the Friends of the Pet Center. Melinda held several roles on the PTAO board, including Vice President at R.B. Hunt Elementary School, and had the honor to be named Volunteer of the Year for her years of service to the school. Melinda is a native Floridian and in her free time enjoys spending time with her family and friends. And finally, we have Richard Goldman, the president and CEO of the St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra, and the Beaches Visitors and Convention Bureau, where he's responsible for maintaining and enhancing the area's continued success as a popular tourism and meetings destination. Prior to joining the Bureau in 2009, Richard served as the Senior Vice President and Chief Marketing Officer for Amelia Island Plantation, where he managed a 13-member in-house advertising and marketing operation. As chairman of Visit Florida's Board of Directors, and with company executives, he facilitated the reorganization of Visit Florida into a more streamlined marketing company. He continues to serve on Visit Florida's Marketing Committee and the Florida Tourism Council of Leaders. He is also past vice chair of the Florida Commission on Tourism and past chair of Florida's First Coast of Golf, a regional destination marketing organization. A graduate of University of Florida, he started his career at Ogilvy and Mather ad agency in New York and spent 17 years working for Ryder and Shield Advertising in Miami, including 10 years as the firm's vice president for marketing and research. With a passion for metrics, Richard brings a focus on accountability to marketing tourism. Richard resides in Ponte Vedra Beach since 1998 with his artist wife, Sharon, and they have 3 grown daughters. Before we begin the discussion, I would ask that our audience submit your questions to us at any time using the chat feature. We will field questions throughout today's discussion. So without further ado, at this time, I would like John and Melissa to get us started, please.
William, I'd like to thank you for that wonderful introduction. And I'd also like to thank the Chamber and everybody that has brought us all together this morning because here's where we're at. We all have to work together to make the holiday season the best ever. And that's our philosophy at the city. We understand the importance of this season in today's day and age with COVID from an economic point of view. I've spoken with, I don't know, maybe as many as 20 businesses to really understand where people are at and what their needs are. And to that extent, we've done a few very specific things to set the stage for a wonderful holiday season. The final administrative policy steps that are required by the City Commission will take place on Monday night. So the first most significant thing is that we are extending the season. So our goal is to open the holiday Night of Lights on November 14th, which is a week in advance of our normal date. The idea being to get started earlier, to add a couple more power-packed weekends, and then we'll conclude on Sunday, January 31st, which would be a normal time. Beyond just the economic issue, so many residents have talked to me about the importance from an emotional perspective of having a very traditional Christmas season, to bring back joy, to just celebrate. I think we're all ready for that on so many levels. So I got to tell you that the urgency of the season is first and foremost for the city. Second thing that we have to do is make sure that we all work together to keep the holiday season as safe as possible, given the COVID circumstance, and to make sure that we keep our economy stable. So a major recommendation that was accepted by our city commission is, rather than having one episode when we turn on the lights where we gather 7,000 people in the plaza under all the trees and flip the switch, from a holiday season, that's not as important as having a stable season. And so we are not planning that type of opening celebration to the lights. So I just want to make sure everyone understands that's in the interest of the community and making sure that we keep our community safe and stable with regard to COVID. We don't need to have an event that could accelerate any form of transmission. The other thing that is, I think, very important is that one of the significant parts of the holiday season is the Holly Jolly Tour by Historic Tours of America. And I'm not sure if they're on the line or not, but I just can't celebrate enough the way that Dave Chatterton and Ed Swift, their team, working with the city team, have studied the very best tourism industries, I think, that you can in Disney World and Universal and SeaWorld to make changes to make the Holly Jolly Tour as COVID safe as possible. They have really, their program is as good as, if not better, than anything you might see at a major Orlando theme park. And we know how important the trains are to moving people through the community and being able to appreciate all of our work in lighting. So the other thing that we've done is we've worked with Angels in the Architecture, who is our main private contractor. The way that the city, of course, puts up our Christmas lights are we work with Angels in the Architecture and our Public Works Department. And we have worked with Angels in the Architecture to actually expand the city lighting program. There's very specific improvements that as you wander the city, you're going to look at and say, oh, I didn't see that last year. But I'm not going to tell you what it is. I want you to find it on your own. And then the other thing that is also very important is that in today's COVID age, we looked at our satellite parking system, which is great. It's been growing, but it doesn't make sense to run a system that probably won't be appreciated by people of putting people in small buses and transporting them. So we're not planning to do the shuttling system this year. But there's a few things that we are doing. One is, if necessary, I have the authorization to spin up additional field parking with Francis Field. And we are also working on building a COVID-safe shuttling system from Barry Browdy's property on King Street using open-air vehicles, charter open-air vehicles. So we're building those things. So the third thing that we can do is really encourage the private sector to be in the parking business. If you're not already in the holiday parking business, we're going to encourage you to get into the holiday parking business. And we'll do everything that we can do to work with any major institutions such as Flagler College to see how we can bring in additional parking inventory. The good news is that when you really analyze the parking data of the shuttling system, the load that it relieves isn't that great. I think the few things that we talked about, we're going to be okay with parking. The other thing that we want to do is we want to encourage you to think creatively on any neat idea that you have to create some little nuance that just really helps build a little bit more to the holiday season. I want to encourage you to carol, to think creatively, to come up with new ideas. We're going to put Melissa's going to put a couple things on the out for discussion in just a minute. But we've been working with the amphitheater staff. We've been working with some other businesses, major hoteliers, to try to come up with some little twist, something new, something that would cause someone to say, oh, I heard about this neat new feature of the holiday lights. We need to go. So if you have an idea that you'd like to try, just give us a call. Tell us what it is. We'll just do a quick review, make sure that we don't get crosswise with any obscure rule of the city or whatever. Make it your own, so to say. The other thing also is during the COVID period, we have stepped up the cleanliness of the city. We have been literally pressure washing and steam cleaning every public surface in the downtown area and elsewhere, even outside the downtown area, multiple times over the summer. So if you walk St. George Street or the streets, you'll notice there's less gum. It's just cleaner, and our goal is to keep up that standard. And so those are some of the things that I just wanted to put out there. If you have anything that you think the city should be doing, tell us what it is, because we're here for you. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Melissa.
Good morning. Thank you, John. So one of the ideas that I was suggesting, and it's one of these that with time and financial resources being somewhat tight for everyone, we understand that. But one of the ideas in a brainstorming session was to encourage, as John said, anyone who's got a storefront, a window display, or perhaps a space within their establishment to do something that is a little bit more than normal, but that sets the stage for something that's decorative that would then draw folks into the establishment. So maybe a window display that looks like Santa's workshop, or maybe more than normal, to just draw in and grab people's attention, that people will start talking about. And if we can get folks who are interested in doing something and who want to specifically share the idea of, hey, we're going to do a winter wonderland display in our window, or we're going to decorate our shop like a toy store and there's going to be all kinds of special decorations, but something that we can help promote, or that can be done through the chamber, or that we can incorporate, whether there's a tagline. It can even be something sort of a grassroots idea. So we were chatting about this yesterday, and there's lots of great ideas out there that have never really come to fruition. So it was just in a brainstorming session. So if collectively and collaboratively we can come up with something to help promote that, we'd like to see that as well. And even if it's something that we can come up with that we can send in an email and a PDF that you could put it in your window that just says, we're part of the 2020 Nights of Light celebration. It's not necessarily something that would be judged or that's a contest. It's just a way to encourage everyone to maybe just try to do a little bit more, that everybody just kind of goes that extra step. If it's something that we like and we just can't quite get it to the level that we want this year, maybe it's a good starting point that next year we can do a little bit more with it and create a legitimate campaign, if you will. But it was just a way to get folks to think about ways that you can do something. And yes, we all decorate with our lights and we love the lights, but maybe we can take it one step further. Like John said, just to get everybody in that holiday spirit, festive spirit, the community feeling, celebration, love, and goodness, can we all just use a little bit of happiness in our lives? So that was the idea of that.
William, we'll turn it back to you.
All right, thank you very much. That's a great idea. I know everybody is ready for it, and I love the idea of decorating all the storefronts in the different areas around the city and the county. So we can take that and let it grow over time. So have let's see, a question from Tom. It is, in lieu of shuttle lots, how about Uber lots where people can park for free and call an Uber or golf cart shuttle? John or Melissa, what do you think?
Well, that's a great idea. Got some ideas are coming to mind, so let me just record it and we'll get back.
Okay, great. And then Cindy posted a note just of how to stay in touch with everything with the City of St. Augustine. So make sure you check that out in the chat. You know, we've got the experts here, so don't be shy about the questions. Okay, we have another one. And by the way, we will ask these questions of John and Melissa now, but as they come in through the course of the call, we'll have another session toward the end where we can double back with them. So a question from Jennifer. Good morning. If there isn't a light up with several thousand people, how will they light the plaza?
So here's the issue on that. We know what not to do. We know it's not a good idea to put 6,000, 7,000 people in the plaza at one time. We're open to any suggestions on how best to kick off the season. At this moment, we don't have a definitive plan. So if anyone has a suggestion, I'd like to hear it. Let's call the minimum floor, we turn the lights on at 4 o'clock on the 14th, okay? That would be fairly uninspired. So if anybody has a good idea on what might be some form of a replacement, I'd like to have that discussion, and whether it's right here or offline.
We have talked about also some type of a Facebook Live ceremony, if you will. So it would be something where ceremonially there would be a lighting, like John said, it would be fairly unspectacular to just suddenly turn the lights on, so it's balanced. But again, if it's a Facebook Live, there's promotion involved and making sure that folks know about it. But it's a slippery slope to want to announce something that's going to happen, because people will not resist. They will want to come down and see it. So, but yes, please send us some emails. Let us know your thoughts, and we're still working on that.
All right, great. Thank you very much. I know that'll be. I'm sure you'll come up with something great. So, all right. So we'll move on to Melinda Conlon to brief us on the recent City of St. Augustine Beach holiday updates.
Well, good morning, and thank you so much for including the beach in this meeting. We really appreciate it. So we typically start putting up our lights around the same time that the city does, and we have everything up by the end of November. And then the Civic Association of St. Augustine Beach puts on a surf illumination event, which is generally held in the first Saturday of December. It's at the pier. There is a huge Christmas tree, and they light it up. There's a couple of speeches by the mayor and other people, and then it's just a very family-friendly event with a few vendors. And we are still planning, to my knowledge, the latest is that the Civic Center, or Civic Association, I'm sorry, is still planning to have that event. We are looking into, again, CDC guidelines, social distancing, how to make it a successful event, but a smaller event. So that's typically how we kick off our season. And then what we have, of course, our biggest event, which is one of the biggest events really in all of the county, is the Beach Blast Off event, which is the fireworks display that happens on New Year's Eve. We just got word that we will not be able to have that event this year. It's just too large. It attracts way too many people. That event can attract up to 30,000 people in a small space. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do that this year. So what we are looking into doing are smaller events spread out throughout the season, and trying to really celebrate the season as a whole and not just one big event on one night. So we are looking into several different alternative ideas right now, such as a holiday night market, where we would have vendors come, local vendors, promote businesses, and just really have an afternoon into evening event where we also then celebrate our lights that are put up along the boulevard. We are also talking to businesses about really lighting up their the front of their businesses, really starting to participate in more of a full Nights of Light season, where people do come and they drive down the boulevard and they celebrate their lights as well. We are also talking about doing a possible art walk event. Again, it would be an afternoon event that would go into the evening, where we would promote local artists, we would promote local shopping and dining, and bringing people into the beach area. So those are the different ideas that we're looking at. And of course, it's early for us because we did just find out that we're not going to be able to have Beach Blast Off. And so we're just pivoting now into different ideas. And again, we welcome any ideas that anybody has, any suggestions that people have to bring visitors safely, responsibly, but to also come, give the beach some attention. We would love that. So we are open to any ideas that anybody would like to share with us as well.
Well, great. Well, does anyone have any questions for Melinda? We can get to them later if you think of something as we go through the program. Thank you very much, Melinda. Really appreciate that
Thank
update.
you.
So next we have Mr. Goldman, and Richard has a presentation for us, so we'll get that kicked off.
Good morning, everyone. And Andrea, if you would just get to that first slide. I want everybody to appreciate that from a date standpoint, that some of the dates that you're going to see on here are obsolete. Our job is really to promote the event. We've been very excited by the commitment of the city to support it, and of course, Historic Tours of America and their enthusiastic approach. And historically, over mine and Isabel's signature, letters have gone out to our mutual stakeholders to participate in Nights of Lights, and that, of course, will happen again. It's very important that we participate in and make this a very, very big and exciting event. We have seen the value of Nights of Lights help rebound our business, whether it was following Matthew or following Irma or following Dorian. This is another one of those opportunities where on the international stage, we have an opportunity to say, we're up in business, we're functioning well. And that's where we very much would like to remind our businesses that it's very important that we not step back from the demonstration of our plan to host people safely. That means managing to CDC guidelines, wherever possible, demonstrating through signage, and managing things even as basic as entries into our businesses in a way that people feel safe. Regardless of the advertising we do, which we know is powerful at initiating visitation, more powerful is the experience that people have. And those who, the one or two people who resist following the appropriate conditions, that's a small aspect. It's the folks who don't comment, but simply don't feel safe and go home, share with their friends or share on social media that they didn't feel safe when they were here. That's what will hurt us in the long run. And that's why we, from the standpoint of purely destination marketing standpoint, ask that everyone exercise their responsibilities in such a way that the future of our tourism businesses rely on people feeling safe. Okay, so I'm stepping off the soapbox and into the details of how we're going to be promoting Nights of Lights. I'll ask you to pay no attention to the dates because with the new start of November 14th, we will begin advertising at least 2 weeks prior to that. And depending on how well the Nights of Lights are performing, we will be tailing off the advertising towards the middle of January. So that's kind of the time frame. So if, Andrea, if you'll go to the next slide. We're planning on using audio, so radio. We won't be using television this year, simple budget restraints. But we'll be targeting both audio and social. We'll be targeting adults. Now you see this demographically listed as 25 to 64, but we're actually targeting folks who we call purpose pursuers. These are folks who have demonstrated through their actions and their searches of the internet that they are interested in enhancing their experiences. They are interested in enriching themselves through their travel interests. And believe it or not, in this age of big data, we are able to actually identify people with those kinds of behaviors. So we'll be targeting them certainly by digital. We also recognize that there are different age groups. The older purpose pursuers are like me, they're boomers, and they use traditional media a little more than the streaming media. So we're going to target them with messaging that's a little more appropriate for their interests using traditional radio. And then the streaming services tend to have as their core business millennials and Zs and Gen Xers. And so we'll be targeting them through those more digital media. Social media also will be used with both audio and with animated banners. We'll also be doing a great deal of publicity and unpaid social media posts. So if you have programs that you're going to be executing as part of Nights of Lights or of the season in general, get that information to us so that we can incorporate it into our publicity and our social media posts. So that's very important. In terms of the markets, the research has demonstrated that the people who are comfortable traveling right now are folks who are relatively near us. They want to use their cars. We've traditionally been an automotive targeted destination. In the past, we've been unhappy that we didn't have an international airport. We've been unhappy that we didn't have, larger hotels. But we're not unhappy about that anymore, because what people are looking for are smaller destinations where they feel safe and where they can drive to and are close to where they live. So we stand to rebound very quickly as a result of that. Our performance to date through the summer demonstrates that relative to other portions of Florida and, in fact, the country in general. And we've got data on that. Please feel free to contact us at any time. So now you kind of know the audiences we're targeting. You know that the locations where we're going to be targeting. One last little item. While Atlanta and Miami are important to us, with our digital and our social media, we're actually able to target the neighborhoods outside of the core metropolitan areas where the outbreaks have been the worst. So we'll be cherry picking to a certain extent the right audience, the folks who can spend the money to travel and who would enjoy the kinds of experience that they would have here. So with all of that, the next thing we're going to do is show you some of the spots. Now, keep in mind, these are last year's that will be edited for this year's dates. So you're going to see some dates that are incorrect in them. Please pay no attention again to the dates. Those are being edited. Again, we're using last year's data because information because it continues to resonate and be effective, and because we don't actually have the budget to spend on a lot of additional work. So with that, Andrea, if you'll go to the next slide and play this family.
A family trip to Paris. Nice. Now think about the price. You don't have to travel internationally to see millions of twinkling lights. Introducing a new way to travel, intranationally. Enjoy family fun and old world enchantment at the Nights of Lights in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Listed by National Geographic as a top 10 holiday light display in the nation's oldest city. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intranationally. Visit floridashistoriccoast.com to learn more.
So that's the family-based execution. We also have a romance and couples-based execution. So Andrea, if you go to the next one, thank you.
Ah, Paris, the city of lights, also known as the city of 14-hour flights. You don't have to travel internationally to have a romantic getaway. Introducing a new way to travel. Intranationally. Experience the old world enchantment of Nights of Lights in St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Listed by National Geographic as a top 10 holiday light display in the nation's oldest city. Get all that international charm without ever leaving the country. St. Augustine, Ponte Vedra. Travel intranationally. Visit floridashistoriccoast.com to learn more.
We also have executions in paid social, some animated banners that we will show you next. One is family oriented, the other is romance oriented. And there is no sound associated with that. So don't expect it. Thanks, Andrea. We can go to the next. So those are just some samples of the social that will be out there on places like Facebook and TripAdvisor. We also already have the websites built. And these do have the dates updated because folks have already been reaching out to us by phone and on the website to find out what the dates are and whether we're having Nights of Lights again. So we've been enthusiastically responding to that. The website also features deals. So again, if your business plans to offer some special program, doesn't have to be discounts, but just anything special that recognizes the holidays, great place to include that, and we'll get that onto the website as well as mentioning in our social and PR. We also maintain a Spanish page, Spanish language website page, and the Spanish language publicity supporting Nights of Lights because Spanish speakers in Florida are a very important, very large market, and of course, they love the Nights of Lights. So these are just some elements that we will be using to promote the event. And again, your information, the information you provide is important to us. How to provide that is to send by email those programs to Aaron Masters or Ben Nguyen or Susan Phillips. And barring that, if any of us are the names or emails that you recognize, we work very closely together. Send it on over and we'll make sure that it has a presence. So that's what we're going to be doing to help promote this and make sure that this is the best possible event we can have and leverage the world-renowned Nights of Lights as a means for getting us all back to business. That's my portion, Andrea. So we're ready for questions.
Great. Thank you very much, Richard. I have one, and I think it would probably go to John and then maybe back to you. But do we have an idea or a feel for what kind of numbers we're going to experience this year? Obviously, it's a different year. So John, what do you have? Have you had any thoughts, or do you have any ideas about that? I know it'd be conjecture at this point.
We're hoping that we have as strong as last year, if not better. But I can tell you that currently our parking garage, which is a really good performance indicator of where things are currently hitting capacity levels similar to 2013, right around in that period. So we're down on parking. That I can definitely tell you. Okay. So whether that trend just carries itself through the holiday season, or if, St. Augustine is considered such a safe, driving travel destination with the marketing that Richard showed, remains to be seen. But we're planning for the ability to expand if necessary in terms of what we do, parking, things like that.
William,
Boy, the suggestion on an Uber lot is a really good one. As we've been here on mute, Melissa and I have just been throwing around some different concepts on how to do that. That was a good one.
That's great.
William,
Richard?
if I'd like to ask John a question. If I'm a local business, say Amerisbank, and I wanted to open my parking lot, as you suggested, to parking for the event, are there any interactions with the city that I need to take? Are there any suggestions based on experience that we should consider if we're going to open our parking lot for?
Historically, we don't try to embroider red tape on something like that. So my suggestion is, go ahead and do it. If you want any other assurance, give us a call directly, and I'll make sure our subject matter experts address it directly. But we don't want to get in the way of just open your lot, maybe make it a fundraiser with the Boy Scouts. That's what people do.
Great. All right, thank you. We did have a couple of questions and thoughts come in. Melissa and John, you may have seen the idea from Nancy, but if not, then for the rest of the group, one idea for the virtual light up would be to have child care centers in St. Johns County video children in festive garb, singing holiday carols or We Are the World type of song by local singers, all separate but in cool St. Augustine style. So another creative thought for you to work with. Let's see. We have a question for Melinda. How can we get on a list to be notified of the holiday night market as a vendor in St. Augustine Beach?
You're muted.
Melinda is, I think, muted.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you now.
So yes, they can contact me. It's events@cityofsab.org. Again, that's events@cityofsab.org. And I can talk to them about the night market. Absolutely.
Thank you very much. And Susan on our team posted where you can send special programs over Nights of Light. So she has the emails posted on the chat, and you can reach out to me, Richard, Susan, anybody if you need additional assistance. Jackie just posted, reach out to our high school art classes to help people with the windows. So, and she noted great tie, John. Not John.
I'm ready for the elves to show up. Am I muted?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Looking for any more questions? You've got the experts here, everybody. Let's see. Keith just said, hi, everyone. So at this moment, we don't have any questions. We're going to go on to Melissa.
I just wanted to ask a question, or maybe just plant a seed, a reminder. The county came out with their St. Johns County, their pledge. So I don't know how many businesses took the pledge. And if you did take the pledge, if you put that signage up. So again, that was a countywide initiative. So maybe go back and check. And again, as you're just putting up signage around your businesses, maybe put those in the bathroom or wherever behind the bar or something, just in talking about that safety. That was a countywide initiative. And then we have the little signs that we made up with our mask ordinance that came out, resolution that came out, that's on our website. If you want to download any of that information to have that on hand. I was actually on St. George Street the other day in a business, and they had our whole safety guidelines printed with the city logo on it, and the whole section about all the exceptions was like highlighted and markered, but it felt good knowing that we put that out there, that people are using those resources. So in the spirit of the safety and compliance, maybe circle back on any of those of you who have done the St. Johns County Pledge and get those signs out.
Great. That's a great suggestion. Thank you very much. And Cindy posted on our chat for more information. The website is pledgesjc.com. So www.pledgesjc.com. Let's see, Kathy from with Chamber posted, please remember that R.J. Murray Middle School has the SJCCA Center for the Arts, another local resource for student art and artists. So any final words, Mr. Goldman or Melinda? We'll start with Mr. Goldman, since I know you're here.
Well, again, I just want to remind everybody that, this wonderful event coming on its 27th year, if my math is correct, has been so important to businesses throughout St. Johns County, but especially in the historical city. We owe it to future generations to keep it going, and I want to share that we appreciate how challenging this could be in this very difficult year, but it is important to our future and well worth the investment. So thank you for your participation. Any questions, comments, suggestions? We're very, very interested in hearing.
Thank you very much, Richard. Melinda, I cannot see you in my view, but did you have any final thoughts?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Just again, thank you for including the beach in this, and we again welcome any suggestions, any ideas on how to make this season successful and prosperous for our businesses and enjoyable for our visitors. And so please contact us with any ideas, and we're looking forward to a very, very successful holiday season.
Thank you very much. It's great to have you part of it, and our friends up in Ponte Vedra Beach as well. We're all in this together, and this is going to be a really special year. So thank you all for your input and your questions, and look forward to seeing everybody soon. So to wrap up, on behalf of the Chamber's Tourism and Hospitality Council and the St. Augustine Historic Area Council, I'd like to thank our panelists, John Reagan, Melissa Wissel, Melinda Conlon, and Richard Goldman for sharing their time, information, and insight with us. Today's discussion was recorded, and the recording will be uploaded to the Chamber's website for playback at a later date. I invite you to visit the Chamber's website at www.sjcchamber.com for that and information on future programs coming up. And follow the Chamber on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram for information and resources to assist as we move forward. Thank you for all my fellow Chamber members and to all our guests for your participation in today's webinar. May you all have a very happy, safe, and profitable Nights of Light season this year.